have failed massively. Hey Studio Pals, welcome back to the channel. Happy New Year. I've lost my voice to a degree, so you'll have to bear with me. We make no concessions for the fact that WeCreate has sponsored several videos, and they sent me the WeCreate Vision Pro 45 watt laser. I had a few issues. I sound like Mr. Moose. So I did some modifications. One of the modifications is a simple shroud that I simply put on the top. Now I know what you guys are going to say. You're going to say, oh no, that's going to prevent the fan from working properly. Well, if you look at it, you can, practically see me through it. It's a Chore Boy. And it's actually pretty lightweight. And I only put it on there when there's a lot of smoke, which there usually is because I do wood exclusively. But I don't think it's going to hurt it too much, because if you've ever heard one of these things, it's got like a jet engine for a coolant fan. And those files are in the description if you want. I'll throw them up on Thingiverse if you really want them. It's a pretty simple build. Building things like this inside of Tinkercad are actually quite easy. I'll show you my next project that I'm getting ready to do for the WeCreate Vision Pro. And so let's see if I can flip you guys around and show you what I did in the back side of it. I printed a bezel that goes from the 3-inch pipe to the 4-inch pipe, because it was such a nightmare to try to attach that 3-inch air duct anywhere. So now it goes to a 4-inch. And if you can see, pardon the weird angle here, but I actually place this so I can close off the vent when I need to. To these two systems, obviously the Xtool S1 and a little case for a laser tree down here. I really like this machine now. So yeah, there's going to be another addition. What I love about the WeCreate Vision Pro 45 watt is that it has a very easy way to set up their rotary and put the rotary right here. There's 2 screws. It attaches to the frame. And obviously you take these guys out of here. It attaches to the frame and it's very sturdy. And the software allows for you to do your tumblers or whatever. Let me see if I can find the rotary. Here it is. We had a video on the rotary, so you've seen it all before, but here it is. It's nice and compact and very heavy, hardcore little piece of kit. And you can see right there is that middle prong that goes down into the middle in between these guys. But the bad thing about it is there's no way to adjust it at an angle. Now, a lot of people will have different style mugs and, glasses and things. And you'll want it to be able to tilt, because you're going to have something, shaped like that you're trying to etch on. And it's not going to allow for a lot of movement with your laser. It'll like hit one side of it. So what you're trying to do is adjust the thing so that will be the angle that you're etching on. Well, that would have to be a down angle. I've seen several things online that will actually hold this entire unit and allow it to tilt on Etsy and those platforms. And they want quite a bit of money for them. Well, not a ton of money, $50, $30. But why not make one? And so that's what we're doing here. We're doing the second part, and I'll show you what the entire thing looks like online right now.
If you've only ever downloaded things to use on your new 3D printer and you actually want to make something yourself, I suggest Tinkercad from Autodesk. It's a great online resource for free. And this is the first iteration of this device. Didn't work out so well. After you export it from Tinkercad as an STL file, I bring it into a program that's called a slicer. This slicer is Orca. It seems to work the best with my 3D printer. And the 3D printer I have is a Creality Ender S3 SE, I believe. And it's been doing really well for me. These two sections that I made are actually incorrectly designed.
I have failed massively.
Yeah, so it's back to the drawing board or back to Tinkercad. I had to lengthen or extend the hinge so that it could actually point down also, as opposed to just pointing upward. And this is the primary section right here. It seems to look pretty good. I did it out of black. I have a lot of leftover black. What we ended up with. This is our front piece that attaches to the wall with a hinge on it, hinge point. This allows for a screw to go up in here and to come out. And that screw hopefully will be roughly that size. Let's see if I can just put this bamboo skewer through here. Yeah, look at that. It's basically a hinge. Now when that's attached to the wall and you tighten this, you should lift it up or allow you enough downward for the rotary so that it actually lets you do something, you know, shaped a little more odd, like it would be shaped like a cone, inverted cone, as opposed to something along that line. So that should work. This is very heavily built, and we're going to keep going.
Okay, well, it's been a long time coming, but I think we've got a good handle on it. What I've done is I went ahead and put a real bolt through here. I haven't tightened it down or anything. In fact, you probably don't even need the nut on there, but that's going to give us our movement. I found 2 bolts that will work to attach the rotary. Of course, we have our screws, which we've test fitted already. This could probably, in the next version of this, instead of just making a hole, which I had to remount quite a bit with a little file, a little rat tail file, if I make that more of an oval, then it will give full range of motion there. And eventually, I have lots of little parts. Eventually we will be putting this on there, and I would like to have 3D printed a knob, a big honking knob that this bolt goes up into, because basically what's going to happen is you've got that, and then as soon as you start tightening it, I'm going to hold this down. As soon as you start tightening it, you get it level, or look, it goes up at an angle. Of course, you use a little bubble level, and it stays at that angle. Now, before I get too happy with this, I am going to utilize some epoxy up in here and on the top of this, because this post never really needs to move. That needs to be tightened up, but before I tighten it up, like I said, I'm going to run some epoxy down in there. I'm going to run it up in here, and I'm going to run it on top of this bolt, or actually run this bolt down on top of it. Epoxy, 2-part epoxy that I am going to mix up very well. I can just pull this down. Yeah, buddy. And then cover it back up again. All right, while we're waiting for our little friend here to dry with his epoxy on there. I thought I'd just go ahead and reset this back in place and try and run our bolts through here. I've got plenty. All right, well, it turns out that's going to be another case of I really, really, really need a screwdriver. When you design things, it takes a while to prototype them and get them exactly how you want them. This one, it took 2 different prototypes to get to this point. Gosh, I almost don't need that. Almost don't need a nut on that. I like that. Oh, okay. Well, that one fits better. Boy, that is going to be just perfect on there. There we go. Okay. At first, I thought those were going to be too long, but I am sure glad I found those. Yes, I am. This one here. Wow. That's not going anywhere. Cool. Absolutely awesome. Well, that's a success and a half right there. So. Okay, guys, moment of truth. Let's see if you can even see me do this. So we're going to take the screws out, and I'll probably fumble ridiculously. That is going to give us a lot of room. And as you can see, it's already raising up. Just by me doing that. So, by lowering it, well, you can really see that lower. And down. Then of course you'll use your bubble level. I like that. I like that a lot. Like I said, I'd get a little bit more range of movement if this was more of an oval, that hole. We may do that. We may do that. The one I put up online for you guys, it will have that implemented. But I'd say that's a great modification right there. Okay, here is a very strangely shaped tumbler that I had a lot of trouble because, well, the thing had to, etch honking weird shape like that. So let's see what happens. What I'd like to do is just to see how sturdy this is. And it seems to be holding its own quite well. All right, so it's on there. Now, the odd thing about the WeCreate Vision and its rotary system that cannot be tilted is they give you bubble level. Why? Okay, now, assuming we're going to not knock that off there, you guys watch that while I do this. Like I said, I wish I had a knob. I do have a knob. Look at that. Can you see it? I don't think you can. Let me get you guys closer. Yeah, that's what we're talking about right there. Success, success. A little finesse. We need a knob on there. And obviously, once you get this set to where it's supposed to be, you'll want to put this support up under there. I suggest going up under it a little bit further and getting a little tension on there. Yeah. Oh gosh, I'm not even showing it to you. Sorry. Yeah, see, that's what that dude is for. Well, I'm extremely happy with that. It took a while. I had to go through 3 complete versions of that. They were just modifications of the same version, and I basically just looked at what other people were doing online and said, I could make my own. That's a hinge of all things. So keep making things because it's cool. See you guys soon.